I've got to drop this sound because I realized that it's kind of coming across really loud. So I want to be able to not blow you guys out of the water. So let's go to the interface. Nope. You'd think by now I would have realized that it was like here. So I need to drop master volume to like 30%, and hopefully that's working. I need to figure out some way to prop this thing up. Put that there. Put that there. Okay, so just kind of going with. So, alright. What am I doing? Okay, I am currently headed this way. Okay. I gotta take out some bears. I don't know. I really like playing the undead. I think they're kind of fascinating. Just the whole ooh, hey. Nope, leatherworking. But I do need to create a hellstone or else I'm gonna get blasted pretty hard. And that doesn't sound. Now, as soon as I get some actual money, I'm gonna buy a token, so that way I can run with some things and get some stuff working. Because ultimately, I kind of like for this to be my main character, because I really don't like how the warrior is playing at this around this time. But that's neither here nor there. I'm sure there's some people out there who are pretty much enjoying that. So yeah. So yeah. Kind of just an interesting time. I was planning on streaming like this 11:15, so I was planning on starting like an hour ago, but technically this is my very first stream, so I ran into some technical issues, so that was fine. My goal probably tonight is only to stream for an hour, but we will see. So yeah, but you know, whether somebody joins or not, I will wait and see. But in the meantime, we're just gonna keep on moving this way. Also, the fallen Lucifer thing name is only temporary because I'm waiting for. I'm kind of waiting to see. Oh, dang it. That's what I forgot. I gotta go pick up my peon. Scratch that. Roll one. Mulligan. No. So the Fallen Lucifer thing is not my permanent name. It's just... It was an idea I had about a month ago, and then I kind of figured out where I wanted to go with my channel. So now I have to wait until next month because Twitch has these great idea that like you have to basically you have to wait 2 months to change your name. Sorry, kind of got distracted there. And so I'm waiting to change it next month. So for the time being, I have to use this name, but everything else is already set up. So as soon as I am able to, I'm going to change it first thing. But in the meantime, I have to wait. I'm going to go ahead and queue for Shadowfang Keep, because I have a quest to go ahead and knock out inside of there. Yeah, I need to go get my staff. I mean, it's not like a long-term staff, but it's more of the option of being able to just kind of go in and be like, I really like that staff, and I like doing the completion. I like getting into the mind of my character, more or less. Or, I guess a better, like, even into the shoes. Like, what made Arthur, or Arthur, who he is. Like, why turn to demonic magic, right? Like, you have a bunch of different options. But, you know, so you go with what you got. So, yeah. I personally think that Arthur was a mage. Okay. That was weird. You guys haven't, are you guys okay? Like, alright, I don't remember there being two of you, but, oh, no. Yeah, okay, you're fine. You come with me. We're just gonna stay away from that guy. What is with the glitchy? Anyway, I imagine that he was a mage who, you know, did everything he could, tried to save his, you know, his work, his apprentice, I think is the correct plural term there. I'm not really sure. But he basically tried to save his people and failed when Arthas came through and basically just died. And, you know, coming back to life, you're like, that magic didn't work. And then you're like, oh, but there's some magic out there that, like, for a price can give you a lot of power. But, you know, you're already dead, so it's like, what other price can, like, you know, someone's like, oh, hey, you gotta pay this price, it's gonna cost your soul. Well, I'm already dead, so cool. Don't need it. I mean, Shadowlands are still teaching us, like, we're alive, so it's like, I died, so yeah. Speaking of Shadowlands, I'm pretty sure, well, okay, I'm not pretty sure, Arthur is absolutely going to join the Vinthier. Like, I don't really care about the whole min-max thing. I go with what looks good, or what I feel like playing as, and I'm kind of a fan of how Vinthier looks. I mean, you know, Vinthier looks pretty nice. So, you know, I'll be going with that. I really like the cloth, you know, I really like the cloth setting. And, you know, my permanent thing is really not going to be, is not going to be, World of Warcraft. I'm playing it for a while until I get the hang of this. Like I said, I'm new to Twitch, obviously. I have one follower. But, you know, here's to hopefully growing. But in the meantime, I'll probably play, once I got the hang of this, I'll probably play, different games. Like, I've got Oblivion, or Elder Scrolls 5 if you prefer. Or 4, excuse me. Turn off that because I don't want to blow that up. Oh shoot. Anyway, so yeah, but got Oblivion, got some other things, and I know the camera quality is pretty crappy. So, you know, as soon as I am able to change that, or I'm hoping to get a new mic here, or not mic, yes, it does. It feels very good. Feels very, very good. Oh, I don't need to reply. Why am I replying? I can just do that. Yeah, feels good to start streaming. But no, so I've got some things going on, but yeah, I should hopefully get a thing going here soon. I might play some Among Us, I might not. Actually, I might switch over to that here in a little bit, because I think that'd be kind of fun to stream as well. But I feel like, I don't know, I really like watching people play Among Us, but my fear is that Among Us is kind of headed to that point where it's like everybody's gonna start turning away from it, and I hope not, because I really like the feel of Among Us. I really think it's a lot of fun to watch people try and stab each other in the back. Also, hi, welcome to the stream. But yeah, so I hope they don't change away. Hopefully the new map gives us a lot. But anyway, sorry, I go off on tangents. And for the record, I know my current viewer already knows this, but for those who may ever watch this later, I have Tourette's, so I tend to twitch and pop sometimes or shout things out. So yeah, that's just the price you pay if you watch. I hope it entertains you as much as it seems to entertain my coworkers and or anybody else in my life. So, but yes, it's a life. But yeah, so you know, gonna try and not grab all of these people. So, all right, there was one. You know, this would have been a whole lot easier with that Forest Eden just sitting there, but no, now he has to go over there. Oh, hey, that actually, never mind. That was convenient enough. I didn't have to go chasing down that one way over there. Let's get just close enough and release the chicken. Okay, you take that chicken. Here, have it. Have a chicken. Have a chicken. Chicken. Oh, hey. Well, wow. That works in one shot now. That did not used to. Used to be like you'd have to like it would take like half its health, and then you were just like, oh, better kill the thing. Ooh, earth root. Gonna need that. But yeah, so yep. Spider, no Spidey. Nope. Yeah, no, so yeah, but yeah, I'll be streaming different kind of things until I kind of find a rhythm. I was gonna do Oblivion, but was having issues kind of just trying to get the stream started, so I just wanted to go with something that I knew. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't like spiders. I think spiders are just a like, you know, regardless of what you think, it's like, you know, whatever or whoever created these, you know, in your personal opinion, whatever. I just gotta ask why. Like, I don't get me wrong. I get the purpose. Like, it's like, oh, okay, this is wow, there's nothing in there. It's like, why do they have to have 8 legs, like a billion eyeballs, a stinger, and like just all around, like, just ugh. Like, why be that way, right? Like, why do you have to create something so disgusting? And for all the spiders who might be listening, I don't mean you beautiful thing, because please stay away from me. I don't like spiders, mostly because when I was younger, right, I grew up in the country, and I kept a go-kart in a kind of like storage shed. And so the storage shed, right, because you live in, you know, the south in the middle of nowhere, you get a lot of spiders, and it would regularly get filled with them. Now, up until this point, right, I was probably 12, so this has been almost 14 years ago, I think. Anyway, I got the go-kart out, and I didn't pay any attention to it. I checked. I was like, okay, there's no spider web in the middle, because like I'd have to pull the thing out and it'd be like spider webs in the thing. And at this point, I was kind of getting creeped out in my life by spiders, but I was like, all right, that's fine. You know, it's whatever. That was in our backyard, and I probably drove all the way to our front yard. And the reason I say our backyard is because, oh, he's about to die. Whoops. Eric's, here we go. Here's a little bit of life. Our house was designed so it had a backyard, a tree line, and then another yard, and then the forest. So there was like this. If this is the house, it was like backyard, tree line, this yard where a garden, more stuff was, and then a forest. And so kept it like back here, and decided that, you know, drove it all the way around to the front yard, and I didn't feel it, like I didn't feel it crawling, but all of a sudden I felt something stab my finger, and my finger started to swell, and it's on this finger. The camera quality is not going to be good enough to show you, but there's a scar line that runs right there from that spider bite. It hurt like it. If you've never been bit by a spider, it feels like kind of like similar to a bee sting. Like it's just an immediate sharp stab. And no, it was, I like ran inside. I was holding my finger because it was like getting bigger. It was just it was a mess. Like it was, and from that point on, like after everything like calmed down, like a week later, I didn't like, after spraying spider killer and all that other stuff, I have never liked spiders since then. I am very arachnophobic. I'm extremely arachnophobic. Like, now don't get me wrong, if my wife calls and is like, hey, I need you to squash this, it's like one of those where it's like, if she's calling me, I'm hoping it's just it's a big enough problem that she can't handle it on her own, because she's not like where she'll just wimp out and not kill the spider, but it has to be a pretty good size, which the downside to that is it's a pretty good size spider, so I'm like, oh no. But I people who use like a tissue and they're like I'm like, no, that's too close and not enough between me and this thing. So no, yeah, I will kill it from as far of a distance as I could. Now, interestingly enough, I had at one point in time, this would have been, again, back when I was living in North Carolina, it was like towards the time I was getting ready to move and come out here to the Midwest. But gosh, I am just, my brain, man, this is just like, it goes off on a tangent. I'd like to blame part of that on Tourette's, part of that on the ADHD, but anyway, there's this little tiny spider that lived like in part of my, can Can I take my... Yeah, I think I need to take those. Nope, those are worse than what I have. I haven't really been paying attention, so I've been picking up. Anyway, sorry. Going back to my story. So I had this. I mean, it was a small spider. No, this wasn't. I'm Batman. I had one there, but the one that was the real story was actually when I lived in California for a year. I do not need that spell. That's the most useless thing in the world.
What do you for the Horde?
Oh, okay, friendly with the orcs. Thanks. Those on. Yeah, cool. Take the bat back. Anyway, so in the bathroom, right? Like you're sitting here. Like if I'm like, say this chair was the toilet type thing. If I'm sitting here looking like down in the bottom left in the corner, like there's the door right here in the corner, like down here on the floor. This little tiny spider, right? Like lived in that corner. And I was like, look, you stay over there. I'll stay over here. You get to live. I get to live. You don't give me a heart attack. We're all fine. Everybody's fine. And I lived in this apartment for like 6 months of the like 13 I was there, because I moved around. So this was a town called Morgan Hill, about 30 minutes south of San Jose. Anyway, I went.
I have no time for games.
Like I went to the bathroom one time, right? And you know, I always looked for it because I was making sure it didn't, didn't break the rules. It was staying right where it was supposed to. And one day it wasn't there, and I was like, oh no, where'd he go? And like I looked to my like right, and there's now granted the one spider was like the size of the like those needle heads, like a little round ball, like tiny. But here was about a $50 sized spider. And I was like, I screamed and ran. Like I was like, oh, the TikTok, the oh no. Like I booked it. I put way too much ice in that. Anyway, so yeah, so after that event and killing that thing, the next time that happened, I got suspicious, and lo and behold, there was in fact another big spider the next time he left. So from then on, every time... Oh no, that wasn't my first apartment. It was the second apartment. This is when I was living in San Jose. This has been the second 6 months that I was living in California. Anyway, sorry, off on an irrelevant factoid. So yeah, every time that spider disappeared, I was like, oh no. I knew there was another one, and every time, without fail, there was always some big spider just waiting. And what really got me, right, was like when I left, right, to go to California, everybody where I was from in North Carolina was like, oh yeah, California doesn't have any spiders. And you know what I say to them? You big frickin' liars. Like, you, yep. Manhandle, no. They were. No. I came back, and the first thing I said was, y'all a bunch of dirty, filthy liars. Like, don't you go telling me there's no spiders in California. I encountered black widows, brown reclusi. Man, I encountered so many spiders. I was like, y'all liars. That's just a fact. If you ain't never been to California, or you've not ever been to California, there's spiders. Yep, they're just like anywhere else. Now, I will say this: when I moved to California, right, I had never been. I was 19 when I went. Oh, actually, I was 18, turning 19 when I left for California, and I thought I had never been far. I'd been up north as far as like New York, Canadian border, and as far south as Georgia. But I'd been farther as far west as like the border of Tennessee. But so I'd never been out west, right? And in my head, the west was tumbleweed, desert, cactuses, scorpion, like old west movies, because that's all you have growing up. Like, so all I knew about the west was like what I saw in movies. So I'm like, And so I went out there, and I took a plane, got to Salt Lake City before I took a plane to San Jose. And so I came in right in October, and and of course Salt Lake Valley was just barren. So I was like, okay, this is kind of holding up. No cactuses, tumbleweed, or scorpions, but desert nonetheless. And then I flew out to San Jose, and I was like, you ever see that kid where he's just like I was so blown away. There was like palm trees and grass, and now this was like the campus of San Jose State University, right? I was just seeing what the university was like, and I was so blown away. You'll have to bear with me here. I was more blown away by the Asian population because where I came from, there were no Asians. Now, I realize Research Triangle Park in North Carolina has a huge Asian population. But when I was growing up, there were no Asians. There was like 50%, I would say, where I grew up was a poor town. It was an old mill town, but I grew up and there was like, what was it? I don't know. It was like predominantly white and black, and it you really couldn't tell which was the majority, honestly. But yeah, so. But there were no Asians. There were a few Hispanics, but no Asians. And so I was just blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many Asians. And there were people skateboarding and people like, like all the stereotypical like California things that you see on TV. And I just was absolutely blown away by that. So, yeah. But as I kind of got to where I was going, like I said, Morgan Hill, and I started moving away from San Jose. Granted, I came in there in like September, well, like the beginning of October. And I can't speak for anything outside of Silicon Valley, but as far as Silicon Valley is concerned, at that time, this was 2014, so at that time, it was brown, it was dead, and it was just... And so I wondered, I was like, everybody was like, oh, California's so great. And I was like, who would move here? Everything's brown and dead. Like, it was so ugly. Because, I grew up in the South where, there's so much humidity. It's like there's so much moisture and water that it wasn't a problem for anything to be watered. I mean, there's no drought. I mean, we had a drought one year, but nothing like Californians have been, like, suffering through for the last 2 decades. But yeah, so but around April, right now, before I get to April, right? When I got there, they were like, it started raining. They were like, oh, it never rains this early in the year. This is some weird weather we're having. And I was like, ah, okay. And then I started, then like December came around, and it was like, I expected California to be warm. But it was not. Around December, it got to like 24 degrees one time, and I was on a bike, and that I was unprepared for that. I was not at all prepared for. Sorry, I'm having to measure, make sure I'm not too close. I was unprepared for how cold it was, and then everybody was like, "Oh, this is some really cold weather. It's kind of weird," and I was like, "Okay." And then April ran around, and I forget what happened. Oh, I don't remember what rolled around, and then they were out. It was like, they were basically the same line of, "Oh, that's kind of weird," and I was like, "Okay, look, you've said that the entire time, the first 6 months I've been here. At this point, everything's just weird. It's just, it's like, it's just weird weather. It matches the personality of the people. Weird." But don't get me wrong, I love NorCal, but no, they were always like, it's just weird weather. I'm like, then what other weather do you even have at this point? Because that's all you guys talk about. But no, once it started raining, once March, April came around, it was so beautiful in California. Like, oh, it was so green, and they're like, the I don't want to say fog, the like mist fog stuff would sit on this, like, they say mountains, but they're like hills, and it would just sit there on the side of these hills, and it would look like rolling smoke. Like the hills were on fire almost. Now, granted, that's, they are now, but then they weren't. It was just the way they looked. But no, so yeah. I really did like my time in California. If you ever want the stereotypical, again, this is based on my experience, if you ever want the stereotypical experience, like to see the stereotypical California, like that,
and my people have not always been the forsaken.
Like that, like
long ago,
high out of your mind.
The northern kingdoms of Lordaeron, ruled by
California,
King Tyrannus Menethil.
go to Santa Cruz. Go to Santa Cruz, California. I swear you will not be disappointed.
Even
it is
saying his name makes my body quiver in rage.
It is the epitome
this
of
man-child, Arthas, took for himself a cursed blade known as Frostmourne. Through Frostmourne,
I met people who were
Arthas
druids,
killed his
who
own
were
father,
shamans,
and raised
who
this
were
land,
like
along with every living creature in it.
everything you want, you could find
My
in Santa
own
Cruz.
death
Any type
came
of
at the
person you're
hands
looking
of
for.
Arthas.
But
When he and his
don't get me
army
wrong, like
sacked
they're
my
some of the
homeland,
nicest people
Quel'Thalas,
ever.
and
Like I
murdered
loved
my
Santa Cruz, the
people.
beach, the pier.
In his
On the
vast
pier, if you ever go to
cruelty,
Santa Cruz, on the
Arthas
pier,
severed my spirit
down the
from
boardwalk,
my body and raised me as a
is
banshee to serve in his scourge
I don't remember what
army.
it's called. Oh, you gotta be kidding me! That thing popped now? Well, I'm
A
canceling this
similar
cinematic.
fate.
Forget that.
What joy is there in this
On
curse?
the boardwalk is a restaurant that basically, it sells a clam chowder in a bread bowl. So it's like essentially a giant loaf of bread that's been hollowed out, and it's just got this like clam chowder inside of it. It is so good. I highly recommend it. Like, absolutely, if you ever go there, absolutely buy it. But anyway, so that's kind of the fun thing about my experience in California. Now that I'm done with that tangent. Oh, anyway. Oh, man. But yeah, now we're in this dungeon. So I think I should probably track that quest I was doing. I need the Tenebrous Orb, the Book of Lost Souls, and the Ghostly Essence. You know, I'm just saying, if I was an actual warlock, I would absolutely just like, they'd be like, oh yeah, bring these things up. I'm like, well, let me transcribe exactly what it says. Okay, cool, here you go, you can have this now. Because, like, I'd be sucking up every piece of information to be like, how can I use this to my advantage? Like, Book of Lost Souls. Am I, like, can I rape somebody's soul out with it? Can I, like, capture souls? Can I make them do what I want them to do? Yeah, that type of thing, you know? And I think it's important, though, if you've never played World of Warcraft, though I assume if you're watching this you've probably played, but just in case you haven't, warlocks in World of Warcraft are very different than Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I have played a little of 5e, but like my entire Dungeons and Dragons experience was as a kid growing up with first edition. So everything I knew doesn't even exist anymore. Like, they threw it all out the window. They were like, that's kind of not right, so we're gonna do this. But anyway, bottom line, a warlock in World of Warcraft, for the bottom line, basically gets his powers by commanding demons. And I'm again paraphrasing, so for those who are like know everything about this, I do know a lot of information, but right now it's just not on the top of my brain. But basically, they get it from demonic energy that they've learned to channel. And as far as their demon pets, they're basically ones they've gotten to submit. In Dungeons and Dragons, essentially World of Warlocks, warlocks get all of their power. Well, okay, again, I'm going off of my thing. So not all their power, but they have a patron, a goddess thing that essentially grants them their power. And in this case, it's not that case. But anyway, that's bottom line going to that, because I know there are some people who are like high up on both sides, including one of my friends who's also a streamer, and I don't want to like piss him off by saying something wrong and him be like, and let me rephrase that, he's not a like absolute like I don't think that word is allowed on here, so he's not a bad person. I don't know how else to phrase that, because I don't want to get like banned on my first stream. So anyway, I know he prefers the correct information, as most people do, but essentially I don't want to get on the wrong side of people who are like know a lot more than I do. But speaking of my friend, he is also currently streaming. Or at least I think he was. I think he still is. But, yeah, he's currently building a... if he's still in the chat, he's going to have to tell me, because I don't remember the name of what he's building. It's a robot, if I remember correctly. Not like a robot, but like a... I don't know. He'll have to tell me in the chat if he's in the chat. Also, if you are out there watching, please feel free to comment in the chat. Where is this tank going? No, come this way. Please don't go dragging him up there. That's not the way we need to go. Yeah, there's a shorter path to the second boss, but we need to get this boss. Like, you know, I don't want to tank, right? Because like, I am like I don't want to deal with the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to deal with the stress that is being a tank, because especially in the current kind of WoW atmosphere, there's a lot of think of the diplomatic word, perfectionists, shall we say, who demand that you not make a mistake. And I just, in dungeons like this, leveling is not a bad thing, but like when you get to max level, they start getting pissed off for the smallest things. And granted, that could be just for Mythic and Mythic Plus, but I just, like, I would love to be a tank. Like, I think the fantasy of being a tank is really awesome. But it just stresses me out because like I would do tanking LFR, but like even in LFR, people are like get real pissed off, and it's like this is gonna sound super lazy, but I just don't want to learn the mechanics. Like I will read the bottom, not that book, this book. Like I'll read the like for this guy coming up. Like I'll get the brief. I'll read this and be like, oh, okay, this is what he's gonna do. This is what this does, you know, types of things. But I have a 2-year-old and, you know, a full-time job, and I'm going to school, college full-time. Like, I do not have the time to set up my, you know, to just spend hours looking at boss guides. And there's nothing wrong if you do. And, you know, some people are just better at time management, but it's just not something that interests me enough to want to do that. So, healing is alright, but again, it's like, sometimes I'm like, I like being able to just kind of like, my mind just kind of, like, I don't get me wrong, like, I will still participate, attend, and do things like that, but I just don't feel like burrowing into my, I don't feel like, what's the word? I don't know. I don't feel like just stressing myself out that much to do it. I think, again, healers are great. And again, this is why I have a lot of respect for people who play healers and tanks, because they're doing a hard thing and they're willing to put up with, like, people just being like, oh, this guy sucks and whatnot. But with that being said, I would like to state that I hate, and again, this is going to make me sound so, like, just like a mean person. But it frustrates me when I've run these dungeons like 800 times and they are like, hey, we're gonna go this way, and it's like, no, come this way, but they don't want to listen because they want to do it their way. And I get that they're the tank and they're supposed to be the lead, but if everybody in the party, you know, you got like 2 or 3 people saying, hey, we need to go this way, not your way, you know, go that way. Like, oh, our tank just quit. Did he hear what I was saying? I think he might have been insulted. Alright, fine then. Man, gosh, salty. But anyway, what does he have on his head? Sorry, I'm getting distracted, but what does he got on his head? Durable hat. Oh, shoot. But I don't know. I just, like, and I've had that, but that's why I like playing DPS first through dungeons, because it's like, I would rather know where I'm going first before just being like, because the tank, regardless of whether or not somebody else is like, our healer's the party leader, right? But the tank is the one who directs the whole party. Unless they're like really observant, they're just going to go wherever they want to go. They're just going to be like, oh, we're going this way. And it's like, okay. So, you know, that's one of the things you kind of have to deal with. Now, granted, I just pulled these people, but I'm really hoping that my minion will be able to take those hits, and I can tell you right now, he ain't. I need him out. I need to buy time. Please buy me time. Please buy me time. Yo, take these hits. There. Go, 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 go. Okay. So yeah, but I try not to complain too much, because it's like, I know they're probably already stressed, and for all I know, it's a new person. It's so much harder with the leveling change. So if you're not, like, if you're just a new player to World of Warcraft, let me break this down. I'm sure many of you know this. Oh, the mage didn't notice that we lost the tank. Yeah, bro, we lost him. No, but so what was I saying? Gosh, I got distracted. My brain is just but yeah, so anyway, so now that we've got that sorted out, but yeah, boy, I really hope you guys think this thing can tank this, because, like, yeah, he's already down to half health, so I'm gonna start pumping health. But yeah, like, they're already stressed. They could, oh, no, now I know where we were going. So, yeah, so World of Warcraft, of course, has always had a very linear system up until this thing. It was like, let's just take through Battle for Azeroth, levels 1 to 120. You start off in vanilla levels till 60, well, 58 if you really wanted. At 58/60, you could go to Outland. Oh, let's do this up to, like, Draenor, kind of, because it kind of changed again. But anyway, so, right, you at 60 you would go to Outland, 80 or 70 you could go to Wrath, 80 you could go to Cataclysm Zones, 85 Pandaria, 90 Draenor, 100 you went to Legion. With BFA, if I'm remembering correctly, is when the expansion they introduced it to where it was like, oh, you can now at level 60 go to Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King. At 80 you can go to Cataclysm or Pandaria. Then 90 was still Draenor, 100 was still that, and 120. So you still got the whole kind of experience. You kind of got the whole experience. You got to see but now with are we all cloth wearers? Priest, warlock. We're like the squishiest party that's ever been. Like, we're just alright, well, you know, hey. Squishies for the win. Here we go. No, so I really wish I had my Felguard out, because he could honestly do way more damage. Oh, I need to heal. Here you go. Here, have some health. Here, have some health. Oh boy. Nope. Come on. Alondra, buy yourself some time. This is why we need a tank, because sometimes the Void Walker is just not enough. But anyway, so, as I was saying, but with Shadowlands, they've introduced Chromie Time, which basically, after level 10, and assuming you are a veteran player who has already played through, had a character, and it requires each faction to do, actually, as I found out, has to have done Zandalar / Kultiris, both. Well, if you're Horde, you have to have a character that's done Zandalar, and if you're Alliance, you have to have a character that's done, ooh, nice boots. boy, am I just all over the place. So neither of those is better than what I've got. So I'm just gonna sell these in the end. Well, yeah. So now at level 10, right? Assuming you've already met the prerequisites, you essentially. Where, by the way, who's got the orb and the book? The orb from Godfrey. The book is next to Walden. Okay, so that's the last two. So now, right, like, it's, you get to level 10. Dies, it turns off. So anyway, so level 10, and now you can choose to do any expansion starting at level 10. So like right now I'm just basically getting, because inevitably Heritage Armor is going to come out for the Forsaken or any of the other basic races that are left, and you have to be exalted with your race to do that, so it's just easier to get it while leveling through the starting area in Shadowfang Keep for the Forsaken. So I'm just kind of getting that done. Rather than wait for rather than go through one of the accessories. But yeah, at level 10 you can say, and again there's also a new starting experience, so instead of the starting area races, the Alliance and Horde basically have the same. They can do, it's basically like a tutorial island. It's a lot more linear and tutorial like than the actual starting areas. Like it's like, oh, click this button, oh, go here, oh, learn this spell, oh, this is how you do this and that for your class, whatnot. It's kind of cool. I like it. I've done it like a million times, but for this guy I wanted obviously the rep, so I chose to do the regular starting area. And it has its perks, because at the end of the new tutorial island, which is called Exile's Reach, it's got a mini little dungeon which gives you some blue items, and at the end of all of Exile's Reach, you basically have a full set of green uncommon gear. So it's a lot nicer than and you're level 10 guaranteed, and it's a lot nicer than the starting area where you're not even done with the starting area normally at level 10, and your gear, even when you're done, is going to be all white except for a piece or two. So the downside, right, to the new Chromie time, right, and okay, so let's go through the pros real quick. The pros are I don't have to wait for an expansion that I really like Wrath of the Lich King or Draenor or Legion or Mists of Pandaria, which some of those are kind of controversial to like, but I really don't give a flying rip. Because I like what I like and I do what I do. It is what it is. But anyway, so that's really nice. And the fact is, if I want to do Wrath of the Lich King, I can do the leveling for Wrath of the Lich King, and it will take all of. It'll take me from 10 to 50, because 50 is when you can start Shadowlands, and that's really nice, because it's if you didn't get to experience the whole story or the whole experience of an expansion, right, because you joined later or whatever, then you can now get that feeling. Granted, the flying and everything else and certain things makes it kind of a lot but that's those are some positive things, rather than having to be I gotta grind all the way. And also, Ian Hazacostas and the others were correct in that the way the leveling system works here, right? Look at this. I'm gonna unlock some 19, 21, pretty consistently all the way up through 52 just for Warlock. And for this, again, it really gets going at the end of the 20s and then the 40s, right? But all right, people, please come around. Anyway, so you feel you're getting rewarded more often for leveling wise. You know, and there's not this huge gap, right? Like, I want to play with my friends. Like, the leveling of this is so stupidly fast that it's insane. Like, my Alliance rogue, like, I needed a character to, because I was really debating between the Alliance and the Horde, right? So right now I'm doing this guy or whatever. But anyway. So, like, I had to get... it was also because none of my human characters could start the Chromie time automatically. They had to go to Kultiris. And so I was like, well, if I can pump a person through Kultiris, right, I can just get that done for my Alliance. And I got started on her. And also, Subtlety Rogue, so much fun. It's a little complicated, but it's a lot of fun. Anyway, so I got her through, and it was like, I went from 1 to 50, and then 50 to 60, like, that. And, you know, honestly, she would still be my main, but I put her on Maldraxxus with the, what is that? Something. I forget what the Maldraxxus Covenant's called, honestly, off the top of my head. But, because the Venthyr leather is the worst looking, like, I love all the Venthyr sets. I just hate their leather set. I don't know who designed that, but they ought to be shot. Anyway, so, but now she's with the Necrolords, that's it. So she's with them, but she doesn't, so, and I sort of like that Covenant, but not enough to want to stick with it, so it's just kind of a catch-22. This is my chest, because I've been doing all the work, so. Thank you. Come again. Yeah, take that ring and put it on. Anyway, so yeah. You know, so it's kind of how I feel. I'm like, you know, so those are kind of the reasons. But the bad side, right, on a lore perspective is, okay, actually one more good side on a lore perspective. Sorry, I'm kind of getting off tangent. But the good side, right, is that I can essentially choose to hold on, I want to make sure this is still recording. Okay. I can essentially choose to, like, if I play one of the new allied races, right, or a Worgen, Goblin, Pandaren, etc., I can now, in my head, because a lot of stuff lore-wise, it has to make sense in my head for me to accept it, right? For me to play the character. So in this instance, it's like, oh, Chromie time. That explains how my character would have experienced this and had been there for that, because, well, Chromie time sent me back in time, and I was illusioned, and as Captain Jack Sparrow would say. Okay, here we go. But the downside is, right, is it's so fast to level that you don't get to experience everything. Like, you don't get to experience all the classic zones. You can't experience all that and then go to Outland and then Northrend and then Cataclysm and then Pandaria and then so on and so forth to get that full leveling, like that full lore experience, right? You basically have to essentially, if you want to experience the story, pick an expansion for a character and just go with that story, and that's basically all you're going to experience with that character. You're going to experience that expansion and Shadowlands, and that's it. And for some people, that's fine, but again, like I said, I kind of miss the lore part of that. I wish they had been like 1 to 10 classic, 1 to... Yeah, there's just no way to work it. Like, I would have said slow down the leveling process, but again, like in my case, I have kids and or a kid and, you know, wife and job and college and, you know, all this other stuff, and so it really becomes infeasible to slow down the leveling process like classic grind type. it's because no one would level. It'd take too long to play with your friends and whatnot. And I get that. It's a valid point. But I think one could have said, hey, can we do this different way to where we don't miss everything? And they're like, but their explanation is, hey, you didn't miss anything, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know. I ultimately feel like I did. Like, I'm going to be level, again, until, you can see my cursor here, until this bar, it says Undercity, is maxed out, which means I'm exalted with the Undercity race, the, undead race. Until I get that done, I have to stick with Classic because there's just so many more dungeons, and you get so much more rep in dungeons than you do anywhere else. So, I just kind of have to just bide my time, essentially. And then whenever I'm done with that, which I have a feeling I'm going to be close to almost 30 by the time that... Oh, I didn't realize this had moved here. Whoops, I wasn't paying attention. Get those out of there. So, yeah, yeah, it's just... I feel like I'm missing out on the experience, right? But, it is what it is. Because, for instance, I really need to take a hunter and a monk both through Legion so they can get their class mounts. It's the only two classes I didn't level during the Legion expansion. And do everything, like their whole class story, their class mount. Like, I didn't do that for either of those classes. So, it makes me want to do that. But the thing about the monk is, right, like, take that on a limb, is it's so hard to, like a dick. Sorry, I need to really make this is going to have to change up to be a mature content channel, because, like, my Tourette's, I can't control what's going to be said. But bottom line, I think the monk only looks really good for the Pandaren, but the Pandaren, right, it's like, if I choose a Pandaren, right, I want to experience Miss Pandaria as a Pandaren, because I think it's, I'll rank my expansions in a little bit, or what I think of them each, but anyway, but I need to do Legion. I don't get to experience both. I have to pick one or the other, right? Like, the time it'll take to get through my class quest and everything will basically max level me in Legion, or it will take me to 10 to 50, right? And that's assuming you get off the island at 10 as a Pandaren, because honestly, if you do the starting areas thing, you're gonna be like level freaking 20 almost. Excuse me. And so, you gotta pick one or the other, and I kind of hate that I have to I'm basically pigeonholed into either picking Miss for the experience or, Legion for the... Oh, hey, we got a cool. Thank you, Grimon. You've been a lot of help. Much help, very much. Anyway, so I think there's something to be said for the old way of leveling, personally. Now, oh man, I'm so sorry. Where was I? So, anyway, back to my earlier comment about rating the thing. It's hard to list them from my favorite to my least favorite, so rather than do that, I'm just going to go what I liked about each one. So, Classic, I grew up with vanilla. I was 9 when it came out, and I thought vanilla was like the greatest thing in the world. And so I still love that. Now, I consider vanilla leveling and kata leveling, even though the kata is a revamp of those original. I'm going to stick with just saying the original vanilla, and which you now can experience with classic. I love it. Yeah, it's the nostalgia. I get it. But at the same time, man, is it fun. But it was slow, and it was, having reminded myself with classic, I'm like, wow, this was really freaking hard. Harder than I remember. So, it is, what it is. But I liked it overall. I loved it. With Burning Crusade, right? I liked because the Blood Elf and the Draenei. I think both were excellent additions. I think both are really cool races. Obviously, Blood Elves is a universal, because that is probably the most played Ooh, yes. Thank you for that. Yeah, anyway. I bet this whole thing, this new staff is better than... Yeah, it is. So I'm going to wait to turn this token of power in, because that's just going to buy me some time. Anyway, Burning Crusade, though, the Outland, there were some issues because everybody started in the same area, right? So, Classic had multiple starting places. Wrath had Borean Tundra or Howling Fjord. Kata basically revamped the starting areas, but everybody kind of there were multiple. I think it was you could start in Vashj'ir or Mount Hyjal, so 2 starting points. With Miss, it was basically Horde and Alliance started on opposite ends of the Jade Forest. Warlords of Janor, Frostfire Ridge for Horde, Shadow Moon Valley for Alliance. Legion, you could pick any area to start in. BFA, any of the 3 regions to start in for your continent. And again, Horde, Alliance, separate islands completely. And Shadowlands basically starts everybody in the main point, so that's kind of goes back to the original. But Outlands had PvP quests for PvE straight out the gate. There were 3 areas to tame, and you're like, that's got problems. And it was, people would just kill each other for no reason. But anyway, so it wasn't my favorite, but it had its points, and I thought it was cool. But there, on that note, there is something to be said for that moment when you walk through the dark portal for the very first time, and you're like, oh, the sky's flying. What am I looking at? Because if you ever played Warcraft 1, which I did not because I don't like Warcraft, RTS games, so I only knew about it from reading lore stuff, right? And to clarify on a short note before I go on to Wrath, I started playing the game Christmas of 2004 at the age of 9. No idea what I was doing. Not a clue. And I played having not a clue till 2008 when Wrath had come out. And then I was like, I don't know what I had to decide between Xbox Live and this, because my family didn't have that much money, so they had to it was like, we'll pick one, and I had more friends at the time that played Xbox Live. Anyway, so I stopped, right? But I never really started because I didn't understand. The highest level character I had was a 24 undead warlock, which I just realized the irony of that. But anyway, but I think I'm going to call it here for WoW. I'm going to update this. I think we're going to take a switch over to Oblivion because I need to sell some stuff though. Anyway, so ooh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. So yeah, so I didn't really qualify. I came back in the fall of 2011, and right, I can tell you how I know. Let me go to. Nope. This is legacy. This is what I want. 2012. 2012. Yeah, I know that's like a really bad way to like figure out whether or not when I started, but it, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, let's just say I started January 1st of 2012. I came back Christmas of 20. That's what happened. I came back Christmas of 2011 to get was basically when I came back. It was a Christmas gift. And of course there's no way to tell because this is 2021, but I know I got it way sooner than obviously. So did I sell all that stuff? Yes, I did. 126 gold. Oh, I need to get some. There's a guy that has some recipes here and stuff that I can work on my cooking. So anyway, so I came back, and I would have been 16 at this point. Still had no idea what I was doing. Like, I had no idea. I was wearing. I don't want to say I was wearing cloth on like a. Because my first class when I came back was a Worgen Hunter. Because I thought they looked awesome. And they still do. Before I hit 55, I was like, oh shoot, I hit 55. I can make a Death Knight now. So I made an Undead Death Knight and basically spent a lot of time as a thing. Anyway, is any of this for me? Leather tailor, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then in 2012, right, like a few months after I'd started, I met a guy named Hadrian. Yeah, Hadrian. And him and his wife took me under their wing and were like, hey, stupid, this is your a Death Knight, I think was what I was leveling at the time I met him. I met him because I was trying to sell one of the TCG pets, the Eye of the Legion. And so anyway, I got involved in their guild and whatnot, etc. Anyway, I would spend probably the next year and a half playing with them before I got before other stuff happened. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So I didn't have a clue, and they basically taught me how to play the game. They were like, you're a Death Knight, so you need strength and stamina. If it has intellect and agility, don't use it. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, sure, yeah, that makes sense. I need to stop using that because it's not going to give me points. Anyway, so you know, they basically taught me how to play the game. So about 2013 is when I learned. I had memorized everything. I was like, cool. Plus, I was in my senior year, going into my senior year in late 2013. So I had a class called Digital Media, which is where I would spend basically all of my time just on my free time, because like we had these Mac computers. It was like a super nice class. We were learning how to cut media, like audio and video and stuff. And our teacher didn't care what we did once our task was done. So I would just put on headsets, listen to music videos, or specifically gaming music videos of World of Warcraft, and just read lore and stuff. And so I didn't know how to play the game, but about 2013, right after, about halfway through Mists, that's when I figured out what I was doing, and so that was a lot of fun. So, and I've been playing, aside from a year I took off, the first year of, well, actually, yeah, the first year of Warlords of Draenor I missed the pre-patch and then the first year of that content, which, so when I came back, I actually had all that content to run through, so whereas everybody was like, oh, there's a content drought, I didn't notice because I had all the content to do, so I was like, oh, this is great. And of course, I really love orcs and stuff and the whole lore perspective of that. So, you know, yeah. So anyway, so moving on, right? Wrath of the Lich King, I love because when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I was obsessed with Arthas. I thought he was the coolest dude. Like, man, I want to be Lich King. I wanted the Frostmourne replica, etc., etc., etc. I thought he was amazing. But anyway, so this is my rogue, by the way. Oh wow, I swear I don't have this. Yeah, there's all my emails. Anyway, what was I saying? So anyway, Wrath of the Lich King, loved it because of the lore surrounding it. I have read Arthas Rise of the Lich King probably so much that legitimately the book has like creased lines in the spine. Like, I'm surprised the book's still holding itself together. Now, is it as used as my other update my thing? Yeah. So I'm gonna apologize right now for the volume of this. I have to get into the game to actually lower it, so bear with me for a split second. Gonna drag it. I don't want it that low because I actually need to hear what's going on around me, because I don't want to. I hate getting creeped up on. All right, how do I? Yo, take the there. Okay. Gameplay. That's good. Okay. What do I have on here anyway? Oh, cool. So I don't lose you because you're a pretty high level. I'm actually gonna save game with you because I don't know why you don't have a save game, but I'm glad you're here. Oh wow, you have a full. Oh, right. The last time I played, I like broke the game because in Oblivion, if you like set the chameleon, like if you enchant it to where like this is 17, so 20 is 37. 37 is 54. 71. 88. And then that took it to 109. So with like 109%, with 109% of, wait, am I not done level? What quest am I on? Oh, I'm not done with you. Well, we're gonna finish this up and then we'll switch to a different. I guess I should. Oh, that's not enough. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so if you have 100%, like, I'm zoomed out, you can't see me, and no one can see you, honestly. do I need to? I think I need to go to the font, right? Yeah, this thing's. What's the? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. What's E do right now? Jump? Nope. We're gonna change that. There we go. There we go. Okay. Help me out here, Haskell.
Ah, you're back.
What's wrong with the I can't be this stuff.
Indeed. The font is being ordered.
So...
Yeah. Once...
Yeah, we'll skip through kind of all this. I really like, on a side note, I really like Oblivion because, I don't know, this is what I grew up with, and it's just, it's, to me, it is the epitome of, like, Elder Scrolls. Don't get me wrong, I love Skyrim, and I'll probably be tapping into that later, but I like it. The graphics and the voice acting may not be like the most amazing thing, but to me, there's nothing better, right, than this. Like, this is everything to me. So, also the downside about being invisible is you can't even see your own self. So your bow better work. So, because I can't see where I'm aiming. Cool, it looks like that thing removed the door. Yay, I should work my way there. Anyway, so, but yeah, I really love Oblivion. I think the whole game looks amazing. I think it's an amazing game. Anyway, so, we're going to speed run through this. Because I'd really like to get through this. It's the only game I've 100% completed on the Xbox. This is the only game that has literally every single achievement. So, I always feel kind of proud of that I've completed at least one game. I put so many hours into this. Oh, you bitch. So yeah, you know, but going back to my earlier statement, way back when with World of Warcraft, right? Tell you what, we're gonna save here. We're gonna quit. We're gonna exit game. We're gonna play some Among Us, I think. Kind of see what we can kind of do here. No, you know, it's glitch. See if we can get into one. Nope. So anyway, moving on. So Cataclysm, I have a love-hate relationship with. I think the idea was okay, but I miss the original zones. I miss the original feelings, and just the revamp. Just I hated. I really hated the revamp. Maybe that's because I don't like change that much. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I guess I'll be green because I don't want to be anything else. Thank you. I don't know what's happening, but they're talking about. Anyway, so I wonder what are they talking? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, for the most part. Okay, hold on. We gotta be be detrimental here, right? do what we gotta do. Let's not. Oh, Black left the game. What a damn shame. Okay, we'll go to the reactor. I'm really hoping I'm doing tasks they have available, because if not, that's gonna look sus. So, yeah, yeah, so I have a love-hate relationship with it, and, you know, gotta fake doing tasks. We'll get back to that in a little bit. I want to focus. Oh my gosh, another reactor meltdown. What is my dude doing? What is you doing? Oh, so many people are up here. I would have chosen lights, my dude. But it's whatever. I don't know what he's gonna try and pull, honestly. Dang it, I was gonna... Oh boy, I don't like this. I don't know what tasks they're doing is the problem. Like, there's one in Launchpad, 2 in the locker room, 3 in the cafeteria, 1 in storage, 2 in admin. What's the one in the balcony doing? Okay, so no, I'm the only one who's I'm just gonna let them sort this. I was like, me? Oh, I am light blue, so I'm hoping he means Black. Why did you call? I say as I try not to look sus. Okay, sure. I wish that had been more clear and people had been like, oh, he's sus because he called. Anyway, I hate this because I don't know. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go in. We're gonna break down some doors. And we're gonna smash everything to pieces. So now... Okay, so anonymous voting is on. I wish I'd known that. I would have voted for blue and just thrown him off. Made it a little easier. But why is my partner not killing anybody? I don't know if he doesn't know what he's doing or if he's just nervous. Or, you know, maybe he's playing some long game I'm not aware of. And the other thing is, I don't know what their range of view is. So... And I'm just, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. Yeet. Oh, I do love this. uh, uh, see if I can pull. Okay, bye. No, him, not me. Oh, that was an impressive stat kill. So with him gone, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 5. Oh my gosh, we just need 1 kill, right? Yes. Oh, I could win this. Oh, I hate it. I hate it when it comes down to this. I just. I hope the time clock isn't that far. Oh, you weren't an imposter? Damn. What a shame. Okay, bye. That worked out so perfect. Oh, man. That was just impressive. Oh, I should probably update. I apologize for this kind of like popping up my OBS. But oh gosh, somebody's already dead. Oh, okay. Well, it's not White. White. He's still at launch pad with me. Oh, okay. That pretty much clears that up. So, yeah. Hopefully, I can get an idea for how close unless you play right, unless you play this. I should also point out probably White is AFK, I believe. But yeah, sorry for the earlier OBS thing. I apologize for that. I'm still getting used to this. So one day this is gonna be seamless, but for now it's not. So you get rookie kind of edit stuff. So yeah. Right, we bloated for black. I was like, imposter was an imposter. Wow, what do you know? Okay, so it's orange or yellow. I don't know. I feel like it's blue. I feel like it's blue. I think it's blue. It's blue. It's blue. I know it's blue. It's gotta be blue, right? Like, what? Like, you wouldn't call someone out. Oh, well, That's, yeah, I should have. Okay. I thought he was just riding the coattails, but apparently that was not the case. The lie detector to test determined that was a lie. Oh, but... Bro, guys, it's orange. Come on. Oh, yellow's... He's leaving white alive. I hate Simon Says so much. He's gonna win. He's gonna absolutely win. Yep. I thought it was blue. That was a rookie mistake on my part, but my bad. So yeah. Anyway, on a side note, going back to my kind of World of Warcraft discussion. I think we'll do one more match of this and maybe go back to WoW, I think. Anyway, so maybe I should say, how about this? How about that? There we go. You know, it looks better now. It really does. Anyway, so back to that. So after that came Mists of Pandaria, which a lot of people were polarized about Mists of Pandaria for multiple reasons. One last thing on Cataclysm. I hated the fact that they killed Karen in the stupidest way possible, right? And he didn't get the justice he deserved. Yada yada yada, a bunch of other things. Now, Mists of Pandaria, right? I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here and say I think I'm gonna say I wish I'd been paying attention to whoever that was. That sucks. Saw someone run by me, but wasn't paying attention to who. Yeah, I'm gonna vote for you, bro, because you know what? I'm dead anyway, so. For the record, not me. I know I'm dead, but Blue jumped on that self-report accusation too fast. So I think it's not me. I know I'm dead, but Blue jumped on that self. Ah, wow, I didn't get thrown out. I thought I was so dead on that. Anyway, where's my task? Anyway. But yeah. So anyway, I think I loved, don't get me wrong, oh, I forgot I hit check my work. Where am I going? This way. I go back to the launch pad. I think that... What the heck? Where was this guy? I think the problem is that one, I think they Blue, you are really sus. I'm just saying. You're really not doing yourself any favors. But I hate what they did to Garrosh's character, because I think Garrosh Hellscream got screwed over. You know what? I'm gonna vote for blue because I don't like you for calling me a self-reporter. I think he got screwed over with writing. I don't think he was supposed to be what they made him to be, but that's irrelevant. I liked the scenery, the music, and I didn't mind the band art. I thought they were cool. You know, I don't understand the the whole thing. I think why did he quit anyway? But I love the whole aesthetic. Just it was one of my favorite expansions of all time. Well, I'm gonna guess he was an imposter. Yep. Seems we win. So, okay. Why was Yellow's body next to the table? Like the ended and it was just there. I mean, I know what happened. I think it's one of those things where it's like they died right as somebody else reported a body, so it like there's a kill timer. I couldn't have killed that fast. Nobody could. How it you guys are dumb. I'm out. That was so stupid. Anyway, but I think kind of moving on to a side note, I want to bring this up to really quick. I think on a side note, right? Like, I think Garrus was cheated out of a lot of stuff. I think we were cheated out of a lot of stuff. But it did lead into Warlords of Draenor. Now, again, another controversial thing is the Warlords of Draenor expansion. Personally, I think that the Warlords of Draenor was an exciting expansion. I love orcs. I love the Draenei. And I thought it was really cool to go back in time. Again, alternate universe, I understand that. But back in time to see Draenor before it became Outland. And kind of see these old lore characters. And if you're really following up on lore, you can really get a kind of feeling on those characters, right? So I think that's kind of something that's really cool and really interesting to me. So I thought it was a good expansion. Now, I get, right? So expansions last 2 years. So if you... Expansions last 2 years, but, you know, Warlords of Draenor was done with their stuff for, like, in the first year. So there was, like, a whole year of overlay. Now, like I said, I was gone, and I came back after a year, and, you know, I came back, and there was a whole year of content to do. So, you know, I didn't have that drought, right? So there was so much for me to do. There was so much to catch up on. About a year's worth of content, honestly. I think I got the ring done, like, on my shaman, like, done probably a year probably not here. Probably a month before, maybe like 2-3 months before Legion launched. So I got that done just in time, honestly. So yeah, and it was a good, decent expansion. It was cool seeing all those old, like I said, old lore characters brought out. And of course, everybody's favorite character, Dadgar. Seeing him be out there, and it was just really fun. And then, so overall, I think I would give Classic an A. I'd give Burning Crusade a C. I'd give Wrath an A. I'd give Cataclysm a D, if not an F. I'd give Pandaria a B. I'd give Draenor a... I would give it an... You know what? I'd give both of those an A. B. And then I'd give Legion an absolute A. I'd give Battle for Azeroth a D. And I'd give Shadowlands, right now, I'd give it an A. But, it remains to be seen kind of what happens with that. But ultimately, Legion, I think, was the most interesting expansion, right? It was the final blow to the Legion. It was this summary of everything, and each class, like every class had a fantasy, right? And then each spec had a fantasy in that class, and you had these awesome weapons. Like Frost Death Knights had their swords made out of the Frostmourne, Arthas's blade. Amazing. Mages had not only Phalo Malorn, which was the high blade of the Sunstrider line, which is also mentioned in Arthas Rise Lich King. They also had Egwin's staff. They had Aladai's staff, the first Guardian of Tearsfall. Shaman had Doomhammer, which, again, big orc fans, things like that. Having the Doomhammer in your hand is like the equivalent of being like a god. You're just amazing. Paladins had Ashbringer, which is the same for Shamans having Doomhammer. It's like, I'm a god. Like, get on my level, right? So, I think that's kind of the interesting thing is... and the class halls were amazing. Now, again, I haven't done Monk or Hunter, but I do know the brief synopsis kind of what happens. I haven't experienced them, and I think maybe we should change that, I think, on a stream, and I should start streaming leveling a monk, right? Try to find one that'll look good in Venthyr armor, I guess, because I really want to do the Venthyr quest line. I think the weapon transmogs and stuff are amazing. But so then Legion, right, ends with the ultimate it just kept going up and up, but like Argus, like anybody who played during Legion will remember Argus being in the sky, and you can look up pictures of it, right, the screenshots, and that was the coolest thing ever, to see another planet in the skyline, and not like in the distance. It was like like, oh hey, there's Argus, and experiencing it, right? Like the death of Kill Jaden finally, which was something I don't think any of us ever thought we'd see. And then finally fighting a Titan, which again, extreme. And then, and all the raids were amazing, except for, what was that? Whatever the one was where you fought Helya, that one was kind of like, The transmog that you could pick up just by doing it was kind of nice, but other than that, it was like, ooh. And I think I only ever got the mail and the cloth. I don't think I ever got the leather one. I might have. I don't remember. I have to look. But and then in prison, like right, like Illidan gets the redemption storyline of a lifetime, right? And so that's, blows your mind, like watching that happen. And then Turalyon comes back, and we learn that the light is not necessarily as good as it had always been portrayed to be, that like anything else, too much of something is a bad thing. And the end of Legion, we also got exposed, before I get to that, Sargeras getting entombed by Illidan, right? Illidan finally living up to his potential, and he beating, right, like beating the Titan, and Sargeras getting in prison, and watching him kind of come out of the cloud, just be like, if my mic is like that, like it just being like bigger than the planet, and then like sucked away, right? But he plunges his sword right straight into the planet, and it was amazing. The expansion, I thought, was amazing, start to finish. The class tier sets were incredible. They were some of the best class sets. Tomb of Sargeras was really cool because they took all the tier 6 from Black Temple and redid them with higher graphics, which I think was a really cool idea. And for classes that didn't exist back in Burning Crusade, Death Knights, Demon Hunters, Monks, it gave them a chance to go, what if we, if they had existed back then, what would it have looked like? And so we got to see that. And I think those are some of the coolest class tier sets. So overall, Legion was A+ in my book. My favorite expansion by far. And then we get to BFA, right? So BFA, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. BFA was supposed to be this, to be fair, every time, now that I think about it, every time WoW has had a phenomenal expansion, Wrath or Legion, the follow-up to that expansion sucks beyond all reason. Like, Cataclysm followed Wrath and sucked. Battle for Azeroth following Legion sucked. Like, Battle for Azeroth, right? Now, granted, in this time, we get introduced to, on the Horde, the High Mountain Tauren, the Nightborn, the Moghar orcs, or how they come into the thing, which, if you're like me, you don't use that storyline. You're like, I'm one of the ones who came off of Outland, or, like, escaped through the portal and grew up with, like, the Frost Wolves, where I could theoretically still be brown-skinned, right? And you get introduced to the Void Elves, which I thought are really cool, but it's essentially the way of giving them High Elves, which now with the skin cones, basically High Elves. The eyes are blue, the skin is this, so it's like High Elves are on the Alliance. It's a way of saying here's High Elves without saying here's High Elves, right? And then Lightforged Draenei, which I kind of find are not different enough, kind of like the High Mountain Tauren. They're not really different enough to, like, warrant, but it's, Moghar Orcs. Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm a little biased. I think Moghar Orcs and Dark Iron Dwarves are phenomenal, but they're just, again, reskins. Zandalari Trolls and Kultirans and are 8 phenomenal races. Volpera, I like their attitude, but I would never play one. I mean, how do I say never, but like there's the hate people had towards pandas, or the Pandaren, right, has been astronomically, like, divided into the Volpera. Like, it's transferred. And it's the whole, and there's nothing, I don't know enough about the crowd to God, Makes me look like such a boomer. But you know, it's there's a specific crowd, and you know what it is that plays Volpera, and it just I have never before seen in a PvP situation where a person or where in like for Volpera horde. So I've never seen alliance members come and start killing Volpera or an alliance race, and the other horde say, "Oh, here's another one," or like try and sell them out so that way the person can kill that thing. And that's what I saw with the Volpera, is that people just spike them beyond all reason, right? So it's it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah. Yeah, there's not much else I can say. And Mechagnomes, I just don't like their customization. I think the fact that they have robot arms and legs, right? You lose your hand transmog, your wrist transmog, your leg transmog, and well, technically you still have pants, I guess, but you lose your boot transmog at least. And it just, I don't know. It just, I have them all, like, right? Like, I have them all unlocked. But as far as allied races go, I think I would only play Void Elf, Dark Iron, Culturnans are just the same problem with Pandaren. It's a very unique look. And I wouldn't play the Lightforged Draenei. I think they're too overzealous. And I wouldn't play Mechagnomes because I just don't like the look of them. I would play Nightborne, High Mountain Tauren, honestly, still, Mag'har Orcs, Zandalari Trolls. And I've really been trying to get into Trolls because there's a couple people who are like on Twitter, and if you are really into WoW, you know exactly who these people are. Like, they're just really into Trolls, and I do agree with the fact that Trolls should have beards, right? Now, I'm not saying this is a sorry excuse for a beard, so don't use this as a reference. But you know what I mean. Like, Vol'jin in his art had a beard, right? And I think Trolls should have that option. I also think Undead should have that option. If they have hair, they should have beards, at least for the males. Like, that. How do you have hair here? Like, if you grew a beard, right, and you die, and you still have this, but somehow magically this fell out, right? Like, for certain jaw things, it should be there. Now, if you have the replaced jaw or the missing jaw, obviously you wouldn't. Maybe you could have a mustache or something. I don't know. But I would play the Mag'har, the Zandalari Trolls, but I just wouldn't play Volpera. Not because of the hate on them. Nah, not my cup of tea. But the same, I think, for the Horde as a whole, I'd play them all. I really like... I like male and female orcs, male and female undead, male tauren, male trolls, male female blood elves, female goblins, male female Pandaren, male female Nightborne, male High Mountain, male female Mag'har, male Zandalari, not the Volpera. Alliance, male female human, male female dwarf, male female night elf, male female or female gnome, female Draenei, male female Pandaren again, obviously, male Worgen, male female Void Elf, maybe male, but yeah, male female Void Elf. Wouldn't play Lightforged. Male Dark Iron, male Culturnan, and I wouldn't play Mechagnome. So, but anyway, back to BFA's rating. It's hard to describe. I think part of it, one, was the class individuality that had been beaten in since Legion was gone. Like, right, like the class the classes were gone. I think they were there, but they weren't the focus. So, that being said, sorry. I think that was part of it. The tier sets looked atrocious. The raids were subpar. Like, I did all the raids for Legion. I did none of them for... Like, I did them, but I didn't do them, if that makes sense. Like, I went through them, but it was just to do them once, and it was like, this kind of sucks. Like, N'Zoth, right? Like, the whole build-up with N'Zoth, right? Like, from classic days, we had Cthulhu, who was an extraordinary boss. Then we had Yogg-Saron, Y'Shaarj through Garrosh, and then N'Zoth. And N'Zoth was supposed to be like the strongest one, right? This huge, massive thing. And then we kill it, but we kill it in a way that's just like, It also didn't make sense because Legion ends with us all united. And then all of a sudden, Sylvanas goes and burns down. That's also something else I hated. She burns down Teldrassil, right? And effectively exterminates, I think the final tally was like 90% of the Night Elf population. Essentially repeating what Arthas did to the Blood Elves. Arthas exterminated 90% of the Blood Elf population. And that's again confirmed when Kael'thas in Shadowlands says 1 drop out of every 10 blood. Cut yourself, drop 9 drops of blood, and save one of those 10. And that's how many of our people survived. So 90% of Blood Elves were wiped out. 80% almost of the gnomes in their Trogg invasion, right, were wiped out. Night Elves, right, now with Sylvanas, 90% of their race is dead because that tree burns, right? And that tree also provided stability, nonetheless, for the world. So I remember going into Battle for Azeroth, and I was like, my tendencies, I played Horde, right? I played Alliance. I played Horde, Classic, BFA, Wrath. Didn't know what I was doing, just like the Undead. When I started playing, it was Alliance till I made it Death Knight, and then it was Horde up through 2013, and then towards the end of Mist, I switched to Alliance, and I was Alliance until halfway through Draenor, where I switched to Horde, and that was Horde for Draenor, Legion, BFA, basically. And I remember going into BFA, I was like, well, because my tendencies could switch, and I was like, because I didn't know which came first. It wasn't really clear at the time whether Battle for Undercity came first, or the War of Thorns and Teldrassil came first. I couldn't tell. It wasn't clear. So, I was like, well, whoever attacks first is the guilty party, obviously, for breaking the truce. And we know Sylvanas attacks first, burns the tree down, blah, 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 which starts rebellion. Now, I will say this about Battle for Azeroth. The cinematics, right, of basically Varrock, Sourfang's whole rebellion thing were movie quality, like, phenomenal. The cinematic team, art team should be applauded. They were so insanely awesome, right? And so they were just amazing, right? So yeah, but aside from that, this whole Sylvanas going on a rampage just didn't make sense. And I am glad, though, that Jaina's character, Jaina Proudmoore, has changed, because don't get me wrong, Battle for the bombing of Theramore, completely justified in her hatred. That, hands down, not gonna blame her for that. But at the end of the War Crimes novel, it makes it seem like she's open for working with Thrall and the Horde again, because she's like, oh, my hope has been restored by Chi-Chi. But then it's like they just completely ignored that, because then in Draenor, when you see her for 0.5 seconds, she's like, looks at you if you're a Horde commander, and it's like, essentially is like, I'm watching you. You suck. And so it was like, that's kind of weird based on what the book said. And Legion comes around and she basically throws a hissy fit and storms off because the Horde's allowed back into Dalaran. Which the time frame, right, between the two of those is almost 3 years from Battle of Theramore to Legion. It's like 3 years in game time. So it's like the Horde's changed a lot since then, right? Under Vol'jin, especially at that time. Now to Sylvanas, which, you know, it's its own thing. But, you know, Vol'jin gets there, and he, anyway, so, sorry, back to my point. So, but I ended up sticking with the Horde anyway. Even though, as a whole, I think the Kultiran zones were phenomenal, right? Like, what are they? I always forget the names. One's Drustvar, which is my favorite zone. One of my top 5 zones. Top 10, maybe. I don't know if top 5. I'd have to count up my zones. Zones of all time. Like, a phenomenal zone. Like, the whole witches thing and everything else. Plus, you get the Inquisitor title as an Alliance member by doing that storyline. And this whole thing. I thought it was amazing. I loved it. I loved all of Kultiris. Zandalar, the area where the Vulpera are, the desert, absolutely sucked. Zandalar itself, like that zone was decent. And then Nazmir was like a jungle, which a lot can be made for references of like how Vietnam was always referenced for Stranglethorn Vale could be referenced for Nazmir with that jungle. But it's the same concept of like it was a pretty good zone, but the Horde storyline just wasn't as captivating as the Alliance was, at least for BFA. I thought the Battle for Undercity was pretty good. I liked the war fronts. I liked the Alliance and Horde tier sets for the first one, Stromgarde. I'm trying to think of it as, I think Battle for Stromgarde, I think is what it's called. Those look good. The Alliance Night Elf look for the Battle for Darkshore, the second Warfront, and I think they should have had more Warfronts than just 2. I think by just having 2, they really undercut themselves. But I think having the Alliance set just looked atrocious. There's no way how you swing it or even look at it on a Night Elf. It just did not look good. I loved the Forsaken themed Horde versions, especially the cloth with that Plague Doctor look. I'm a very big fan of Plague Doctor stuff. I think the cosplay is the coolest thing. If I could, I would, type thing. So there's a lot that can be said for that, but it missed the mark because, right, like the Horde's fracturing again and everybody was convinced it was going to be Siege of Orgrimmar 2.0. And, I really can't blame them for that because it basically almost ended up being like that. I did like the fact that they made that if you experienced both sides of the story, which they were hoping you would, right, you got the mount, the wolf for the Alliance, the horse for the Horde, armored up in said ways, and you got a different perspective. Also, it was kind of nice the veteran of the Fourth War, and Varrock Sourfang dying was basically a good tie-in. I wish Thrall had come back to be War Chief, honestly, but it is what it is. The Council, I can see its point. I'm trying to think. There's a lot can be said for Battle for Azeroth, right? it brought unity kind of back to the Horde and the Alliance, which is good, especially with Shadowlands. That's the other thing. I like the fact that you could join Sylvanas or not join her if you're on the Horde with the Rebellion. You can join the Rebellion or stay with her. Basically, through the whole thing, you can be a loyalist or not. The problem is that essentially, no matter if you were loyal or not, you basically get brushed off and get nothing else. They're just like, Sylvanas is basically like, yeah, cool, okay, bye. So, yeah. And then her being this pawn thing where she's like basically emulating Arthas, but she's saying, we've never had free will. It's really interesting. I'd be really interested to see how it turns out, where they go with this story. I think the Covenants. So overall, Battle for Azeroth, F tier. I think like no, I would say D tier because the cinematics, the war fronts, and the islands. The islands were alright, but I mean, if that was your cup of tea, awesome. But it wasn't for me. So I think it was a D tier because of that. Whereas Cataclysm was just straight F tier for me. So, again, too big of a change, I think, for me. But I do get people saying, hey, it was only 6 years, right, in real life, from Classic to, or Vanilla to Cataclysm, right? It's been 11 years since Cataclysm, and they haven't changed it. So I think it's time for another revamp of the main classic zones, but with Chromie Time, I don't foresee that happening. Honestly, I don't foresee them putting in the resources to go out and do that again. To go out and I don't foresee them going out and just revamping a world where you can just choose a different expansion. Like, you're not going through it anymore, but it would still make sense. On the side note also, I think it sucks that the Horde lost the whole thing. Granted, they started it, so, it is what it is. But I hate that Teldrassil's gone and the Undercity's gone because of, like, me as a kid, you loved the undead at the time. And like we saw at the beginning of the stream, like, I was playing an undead character because, like I was saying then, I just love the undead. Or the Forsaken, if you prefer. But Undercity's gone now. Unless you like do, it's gone. But if you use the thing, you can like see it in past time, so it still looks complete. So it is what it is. There's a lot to be said, but Shadowlands already gives us different points. I think the zones look amazing. I think the armor for Necrolords and Venthyr definitely outweigh Night Fae and Bastion. I think in the common complaint mostly is the fact that the Covenant you choose, right? Which is Venthyr, Necrolords, Night Fae, or whatever the Bastion one is. I can't think of it right now. That basically it's tied into whatever's best for your spec, honestly. Like, there's some that just absolutely just, even if you're not a min-maxer, it just stinks, right? Like, say, for me, right, I wanted to be Venthyr. Now, neither Venthyr nor Necrolords were really optimal for my rogue, right? It would have been Night Fae. But, for one, I hate the armor sets of Night Fae and the Bastion Covenant. They absolutely just trash all the way around. I don't like any of them. But if you do, that's again, you're right, and hey, more power to you. But I hate them. So that leaves me, and I don't like the paladin feeling of Bastion and the druid feeling of Night Fae, so that just doesn't do it for me. Maldraxxus with the Necrolords, with the honor, the combat, the war, the fighting. I like that, and I like the Venthyr, like vampire gothic rebellion type thing going on. The noble. And the titles are really cool. Like, Bastion is Hand of the Archon, which is Night Fae is Winter's Envoy, and again, these will be when Renown 40's open. I think we're at 28 right now this week. This is the week of January 21st. So, 28 is only the new Renown available as of yesterday, the 20th. Or excuse me, this is 21st to the 20th to the 19th, right? So when 40 comes out, these are the titles. So, like, Night Fae is Winter's Envoy, which, But Maldraxxus, if you're male, is Baron, female Baroness. If for Venthyr is Lord or Lady, which I think are phenomenal, because who doesn't want to be called Baron, Baroness, Lord, Lady? Like, they're amazing. And all the armor sets for Maldraxxus look great. Venthyr have the best armor sets, except for the leather. I don't understand the leather. If I had, honestly, if I think about it, if I had the cosmetic hood that they had like a couple years ago, where you could have they had like the Jewel of the Fire Lord, which was the flaming horns. They had the like Winter's Skull, and then they had like the Hungering Darkness, which was this dark helmet. That actually might look better. But I just think as a whole, that leather outfit is garbage. Which doesn't make me want to do the Covenant, because I want to do the Covenant for the armor and the weapons. And I think the armor looks stupid. Now, the cloth looks amazing. The plate and mail look amazing. I just have zero desire to really do Warrior, Paladin, or Death Knight right now. And that leaves Hunter and Shaman. Shaman's in this thing where I'm trying to get used to it again. Hunter, I just feel is so overdone. I just hate how many people play it. It just doesn't feel unique. Now, granted, the same could be said for all those classes, but the Hunter really has a niche type thing. So yeah, it has its moments, but aside from that, I think most people hate that the Covenant abilities are tied into best spec. So, like, you really can't do much if you're using, like, Serrated Bone Spike, right, for a rogue. Is not nearly as overpowered. Now, granted, they would say Night Fae, but I felt like Bastion's Covenant ability, right, where a random combo point does double the damage and makes it look like you're doing like an extra point of damage. So it's like so much stupid damage if you hit that mark. So, but again, that's an RNG. You have to hit the mark exact. So if it's in your third spot, but you do your abilities and get to the fourth spot, or say you get to second and then hit it and you're like fourth, you miss that bonus. But hitting it directly on is like, so I could see in retrospect why that's a bad thing. But anyway, I didn't like Night Phase at all. But the Serrated Bone Spike is more fun than the Venthyr one. But the Venthyr is really where I wanted to end up going. But I had to, out of transmog reasons, pick Maldraxxus. Because it just has the best leather one with the extra, even with the extra hand. It's just like kind of like hanging off your shoulder, like It's like a thing from Adam's Family. But so yeah, and so it kind of remains to see where this is going to end up going as a whole, right? So yeah, I'm trying to think. It'll be interesting to see, because at this point, right, this week, Covenant campaigns are done. So the storylines are completed. We've had Castle Nathria, which was a very fun world first race to watch, I think, in my opinion. So, I think we're just waiting to see where 9.1 is going to take us. What direction are we going to go in? But yeah, so that's just kind of my thoughts on the state of WoW. So yeah, I think, it kind of is what it is. So, but on a side note, going back to this stream, I really had fun doing this. Again, the name Fallen Lucifer is just a temporary name until I can change it to iGlitch. I really like how it sounds, like iGlitch or a glitch. Like it's I, if you've ever like heard naval people or even like Irish or Scottish people, they'll be like I. They'll be like da 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 da. I, I. That's correct. Why don't you go over there and bring me a drink there, lad? Oh, hi, I'll grab it for you. Like that type of thing. So it's like I glitch. But I understand that I means yes, so it's like yes glitch. But I just like it. That's really cool. That was unique. But, so yeah, I'm going to do more of this. I'd love to see hopefully get some more interaction, but also try and figure out kind of a steady thing of what I'm going to stream, right? So like the Oblivion thing, I don't think I'm going to stream that again. I was really planning on it, but I don't like how it plays, so I'm probably going to pick something else. So yeah. But for those who reviewed or do view, thank you for watching. I've really appreciated it, and I really appreciate, again, I highly suggest going to watch my friend DJ Brute. That's capital D, lowercase j, uppercase B, lowercase RUTE. He is a really good streamer who I like to watch, who actually helped me get this going, and aside from the encouragement of my wife as well, has been a big help in getting me set up and going. So definitely go subscribe and follow him. He's also got a TikTok, same name. So he's definitely worth, especially he's able to stream more than I am, like Halo and stuff, because my Halo's on the Xbox, not the PC. So I will only be in the background when he's doing those streams in the future. But yeah, but it's been, it's been a pretty good stream, I think. I wish I'd gotten started an hour earlier when I'd wanted to start, but I'm still, like I said, I'm new to this, so I was getting OBS kind of worked up and stuff. So in the future, gonna work towards getting that looked at, and I'm hoping the sound of this, the audio, everything else was fine. Again, I'm looking to upgrade. I'm going to upgrade these, I think. And I'm also going to upgrade my camera as well. So, but anyway, thanks for stopping by. I glitch. not unintentional, but yeah, I glitch. And thanks for watching my stream. And enjoy the rest of your time. And have a good morrow.